years ago, I went with members of my extended family to a Vietnamese restaurant that they occasionally went to. I was neutral on the concept of the cuisine from that country, but I enjoyed outings with the family regardless. Whenever we went into the restaurant to eat, it was never full to capacity in terms of customers who went in to dine. It was always moderately full and sometimes near empty. The atmosphere and layout of the restaurant also had a divisive look to it, with patrons either liking the theme of the eatery or disliking it due to the exact same reasons. One day, members of the family were deciding on where to eat when we eventually decided on that particular Vietnamese restaurant. I was actually against the decision, but everyone else seemed to like it, and we all once again went to that particular Vietnamese restaurant. When we arrived there, the restaurant was actually somewhat more busier than usual, and as a result, there weren't much tables. So a waitress put all of us at a smaller table because there wasn't a properly large one for us to sit at. I mentioned that it was somewhat odd, but didn't think too much of it, as I waited with the extended family as we were eventually sat down at the table. Once we were given menus, we all then ordered bowls of the Vietnamese rice noodle dish, pho. I still felt uneasy as the family tried to calm me down to reassure me that everything was fine. Eventually the bowls that we had ordered came to us and we started to eat. It was immediately awkward to actually eat because there were a few of us eating from large bowls of noodles at a smaller table. We tried to manage for a time, as tragically a member of my family actually had their bowl of pho tip over the table and spill all over them as a result, as they quickly stood up and stumbled back a bit. Another member of the family shouted that we all should have been sat at a larger table, and that something of this shouldn't have occurred. I felt somewhat angry that the other people in the restaurant didn't even offer to help us at all, and that my suspicions were confirmed about coming to this restaurant, as the family decided to take the bowls of pho that we had ordered and leave. But I didn't just want to leave this insult against the family undone like that. While the family was arguing with staff at the front counter, I just wanted to get outside before I did anything reckless. Standing outside in the parking lot of the restaurant, I noticed a valve that was connected to the sprinkler system of the restaurant. Looking through the window, the family were getting bags of food ready to take, as I decided out of an anger-based rage to mess with the valve. Due to my work-based background, I knew what to do and tampered with it. My extended family later came out of the restaurant and headed to their cars while I stayed and just peered through the window in front of me. Shaking my head and thinking that this was it, nothing more could be done, I was about to turn and head to one of the cars, and suddenly sprinklers in the restaurant actually turned on and water sprayed from them, as I saw the patrons and workers inside the restaurant get doused with the water. As people were screaming and falling all over each other inside, my family's cars were driving out of the lot, and I decided to quickly run to one of the cars that I was leaving in, and we all left. In the car, my eyes went to the rearview mirror, but I couldn't see anything of the restaurant. As we turned around a street corner, I even turned back to try and look to see anything else before the restaurant completely disappeared out of the rear view. The entire car ride back, I was restless. I felt so angry about what had happened, yet so happy about what I had did. I felt like I had avenged a public humiliation against my family. A few weeks later, me and a member of the family were in an area walking by the particular Vietnamese restaurant while doing various errands, and we actually noticed that it was closed. The family member actually told me that it went bankrupt and the owners lost everything. I just looked at the restaurant and just stared at it. I continued to stare at it more and more, longer and longer. The family member noticed my obsessive staring and asked if I had anything to say. I didn't, but they knew me better than that, as they had known I messed with the sprinkler valve and caused the literal washout at the restaurant. They mentioned that incident caused massive social media hate against the restaurant, and it closed not long after because of the potential customers boycotting the restaurant as a result of what happened. Feeling angry, I just said good riddance in response. They said it wasn't right to be happy that the restaurant was closed, while I countered and said that it wasn't right that the relative of ours was humiliated in the restaurant with a bowl of hot soup falling all over them. The family member I was with didn't say anything to my statement, as they looked at the closed restaurant's doors and windows, then eventually agreed with me. I said that they had deserved it for our family's humiliation, a little bit of revenge by me for what had occurred, all because of a bowl of pho.